जो स्पोर्ट्स साइंस स्टाफ एंड मेडिकल स्टाफ के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स है इंजरी एंड इलनेस ट्रैकिंग की, वो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा। इंजरी एंड इलनेसेस के लिए आपको हेल्थ फीचर के ऊपर आपको आना है। सो व्हेन यू कम टू लेट्स से एनी टीम, आई विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द टीम। लेट्स से in the boxing team you want to enter any kind of injury or illness, you have to come to the three dots on the right hand side, और यहाँ पे आपको जो सेकंड ऑप्शन है हेल्थ का, वहां पे क्लिक करना है। हेल्थ के ऊपर क्लिक करने के बाद में आपको जब भी कोई भी नई इंजरी या इलनेस एथलीट्स का रिपोर्ट करना है, तो आपको ये रिपोर्ट हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम का ऑप्शन यहाँ पे मिल जाएगा। रिपोर्ट हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम पे जब आप क्लिक करेंगे, then you get a simple form to fill up. It has enough details to capture a complete overview of what you're trying to report. So the basic classification is injury or illness. आपको सिलेक्ट करना है either whether it's a injury or a illness। मैं दोनों भी ऑप्शन दिखाता हूँ। Suppose I select an injury. Basic classification is whether it is an acute injury or overuse injury. So suppose मैंने acute select किया हुआ, then you see the body area chart. So you can get a front view as well as a back view, and you can select the appropriate body area. And then you have to again just read this line carefully. To set a diagnosis, click on the body area, select a structure, and then select a diagnosis below. So there are 3 steps involved. आपको body area select करना है। तो suppose मैं select कर रहा हूँ कि neck pain अगर मैं report कर रहा हूँ, तो मैंने बॉडी एरिया पे क्लिक करने के बाद में दैट एरिया गेट्स हाईलाइटेड, एंड देन आई हैव टू सेलेक्ट द स्ट्रक्चर बिलो दैट। जैसे ये स्ट्रक्चर यहाँ पे सिलेक्ट होता है कि ओके वेदर द इंजरी इज टू द स्पाइन और बोन और सम specific joint, or is it a muscle, nerve? So you get a specific option over here. इनमें से जब आप ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट करते हो, जैसे मैंने मसल सिलेक्ट किया यहाँ पे, then within that muscle again you will see that various muscle groups come here and like the issues related to these muscles. So suppose I'm mentioning trapezius strain. So this, it means that I have done 3 steps. First is selected the body area, then I selected a structure, and then I have selected the diagnosis. After that you can also report the level of pain which is being reported by the athlete on a scale of 0 to 10. So agar pain bahut zyada hai and athlete is reporting that, you can drag this and like select the appropriate level that you want to report. The next thing is to select whether it is a new injury or a pre-existing injury. So suppose it is a new injury, I'm selecting it as a new injury. And then priority. Priority is high, medium, and low. You can select what is the priority in terms of seriousness or maybe the treatment priority. What is the difference between the 3 priorities is that अगर आप लो प्रायोरिटी सेलेक्ट करते हो तो बाय डिफॉल्ट सिस्टम कोई भी अलर्ट जनरेट नहीं करेगा इस इंजरी के लिए। इंजरी तो दिखेगी बट जो ईमेल अलर्ट्स जनरेट होते हैं वो ईमेल अलर्ट्स नहीं जनरेट होंगे। बट सपोज यू वांट कि लो प्रायोरिटी पे भी ईमेल अलर्ट जनरेट हो जाए, सो दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी डन। आपको टीम सेटिंग्स में जाके ये सेट करना पड़ेगा कि अगर लो प्रायोरिटी भी इंजरी है तब भी अलर्ट जनरेट हो जाए। देन ये नेक्स्ट ऑप्शन है कि कौन सी एक्टिविटी के दौरान ये इंजरी हुई। सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ ट्रेनिंग एक्टिविटी द एथलीट वाज डूइंग। सो फॉर ईच स्पोर्ट देयर आर एक्टिविटीज एंटर्ड इनटू एथलीट मॉनिटरिंग। जैसे बॉक्सिंग के अलग एक्टिविटीज है, अगर हम रेसलिंग के देखें तो रेसलिंग के अलग एक्टिविटीज है, बैडमिंटन, उसके बाद में हॉकी, एथलेटिक्स, हर एक की एक्टिविटीज है। तो वो एक्टिविटीज आप कम ज्यादा कर सकते हो। यू कैन सेलेक्ट दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी ड्यूरिंग विच द इंजरी हैपन। सो सपोज स्पारिंग के दौरान ये इंजरी हुई थी, यू कैन सेलेक्ट दैट। एंड देन द मैकेनिज्म। सो AMS again has a list of mechanisms of injury. These mechanisms are again specific to different sports. different sports को different mechanisms enter किए हुए हैं। अगर आपको ये mechanism add करना है तो भी आप टीम सेटिंग्स में जाके add कर सकते हो। जैसे मैंने ये किया कि हेड टू हेड कॉन्टैक्ट है, जैसे कि बहुत बार बॉक्सिंग में एक तरह की हेड टू हेड कांटेक्ट होके भी इंजरी हो जाती है, सो यू कैन सेलेक्ट दैट स्पेसिफिक मैकेनिज्म. Then the date on which the injury is happened is like you can always select a specific date. So this, let's say this is today's date it is happened, and then you have to select training and competition status. All the boxes which are highlighted in blue, you can see whatever is highlighted in blue are the like compulsory kind of information which is to be entered. So here you can specify whether the athlete is still participating in training or competitions, or it is reduced or no participation. So I select, let's say, reduced participation, athlete is still coming for training. But if you select no participation, what will happen is that from the date of the injury, AMS will start like reporting that the athlete is not training. So starting from, let's say, today, it will be like taken as a day on which the athlete has missed the training. So it is an important way in which you can capture data on how many days an athlete has lost because of injury. So that it is possible to capture this automatically. So you report the date, and if you say no participation, then the athlete is going to start like training days till the time the health problem is resolved, and then it will stop. If you want to like give any kind of restrictions for the training, you can capture in this particular box. Then further details on the injury can be captured in this box, which is optional. If you have given any individual program of rehab, it can also be entered here. Then this is just one more box for capturing additional information which is not fitting anywhere else. And apart from that, you can attach up to 5 different attachments. So the 5 different files can be attached as a part of this injury. So these are all the options for entering the injury. So a quick overview: injury or illness, acute or overuse. To select to set a diagnosis, you have to click on the body area, it gets highlighted, then you select the structure, and then you select the diagnosis. Once you do that, the injury is diagnosed. Then you report the level of pain, new or pre-existing, high, like that. So like what is the priority, activities, mechanism, and then you can submit. Always once you submit the button submit, after that just wait for the server to give a response of saved. Before that, sometimes what happens, if you like repeatedly press it, you might be sending more information to the server, and the same injury might get added in the system more than once. In that case, you can always delete it, but it is better to just press once and wait for the server to give a response back. So now, as you can see, this is a dashboard. So for this particular athlete, there is one injury which is reported. Earlier, there was one illness also, and how much is the availability that you can see. So now here you can see this is like injury which was reported today. Quick summary of this injury, and you can always edit it later on, or once the case is like complete, you can close this particular case. Okay, so in this way you can add an injury to the system. Another example is like illness which is already entered. I think this I had done during the last demo session. I think we can use this particular case. You can see here illness, and in the bracket it is written undiagnosed. यहाँ पे undiagnosed करके लिखा हुआ है. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि एथलीट ने ये खुद इलनेस रिपोर्ट किया था. इफ यू रिमेंबर, सम ऑफ यू माइट बी प्रेजेंट परसों या जब कल का ट्रेनिंग था कि एथलीट का जब हमने ट्रेनिंग किया था 2-3 दिन पहले, कि एथलीट्स भी खुद अपनी इंजरी या इलनेस रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं क्योंकि उनके पास में मोबाइल ऐप है. अगर एथलीट्स को तबीयत ठीक नहीं लग रही, दे कैन रिपोर्ट द इलनेस. सो इफ एनी injury or illness is reported by the athlete, it will come into the system, but it will be shown as undiagnosed. So undiagnosed का मतलब ये है कि एथलीट ने खुद ये इंजरी रिपोर्ट की हुई है. Now a sports science staff or a doctor has to go and set the diagnosis. So you can go come and edit it here. And when you edit it, what happens is that it's like again a workflow. Athlete has come and met you. Now you have like met the athlete, you have checked him, and now you want to capture the diagnosis in the system. So it is already reported as an illness. Now you have to select a category of the illness, and suppose it is let's say gastrointestinal. I'm just selecting it as a category. Various different categories are available, as you can see. You can select it as a category. Then within that also, then you will get like a whole list of illnesses. You can select whatever is the like your diagnosis. Okay, I'm just selecting anything randomly. So this is like a diagnosis that I have selected. The doctor or the sports science staff who has recorded this or treating this is, of course, user ID gets captured over here. You can also select whether it's a new or pre-existing priority. You can say that yes, it's like a medium priority. And here you can also give additional dates, as you can see. First date is जिस तारीख को injury or illness हुआ है. Then you can also like set key when the athlete is likely to return to the partial training, when is he likely to return to the full training, athlete competitions फिर से कब से खेल सकता है, and health problem fully resolved कब हो चुका है. Okay, so in that way you can give a complete detailed picture of कब वो partial training में वापस गया हुआ athlete, कब वो full training start हुआ है, कब से competition start हो सकता है. So in case of injuries, you can actually specify all these dates, and of course, in case there is any change subsequently, you can capture that as well. And again, you can give the details, personal program, comments, attachments. So agar koi x-rays hai, any kind of like photographs hai injury ke, you can always do that, and then you say update. So once you update it, so as a doctor or as a sports science staff, you have updated it. Now you can see that earlier it was being shown as undiagnosed. It is not showing as undiagnosed now. यहाँ पे अब जो आपने diagnosis set किया हुआ है, वो diagnosis यहाँ पे आपका आ गया है. All right, so this is a primary use case कि आपके पास में athletes आते हैं, आप उनको देखते हैं, उसके बाद में आपने जो भी इंजुरी या इलनेस का जो डिटेल है इस तरह से आपको कैप्चर करना है. नाउ दिस डैशबोर्ड विल गिव यू ऑलवेज हाउ मेनी डेज आर मिस्ड बिकॉज ऑफ इलनेस और इंजुरीज, how many injuries, how many illnesses. Then you can even capture the view. लास्ट 3 months का व्यू देखना है तो लास्ट 3 months का व्यू देख सकते हैं, last 6 months, last 12 months, or like all the injuries for that particular athlete. So in that way you can see it. Now how do you capture the the treatment details given? So as a suppose you're a physiotherapist or a physical trainer and who's actually doing some kind of a rehab with an athlete, and you want to capture what treatment is being given, or even as a doctor you want to capture the medication which is being given. So where do you do that, or how do you go about it? So जब आप इन इंजरी के ऊपर क्लिक करते हो तो यहाँ पे फर्स्ट पार्ट इज समरी, द सेकंड पार्ट इज क्लिनिकल नोट्स. सो यू कैन गो टू द क्लिनिकल नोट्स and you can add your notes in this particular section. Clinical notes add करना एकदम आसान and simple step है. There are two types of forms available. आपको यहाँ पे either you can click on add new, और ये जो plus green button है दोनों जगह से आप क्लिक कर सकते हो. क्लिक करने के बाद में you can see that a new note form comes up. There are two modes, either a simple mode or advanced mode. So simple mode is a very simple kind of a form in which आपने जिस दिन ट्रीटमेंट दिया हुआ है आपको you have to select the date of the treatment. You can select the time at which the athlete came and met you. So suppose I'm saying athlete met me at 12:30 in the afternoon and I have given him treatment for let's say 20 minutes. Your name of course will be available here, and then you can write the details of treatment. So nothing complicated. All you have to do is select the starting time, how long was the treatment given, and the details of treatment can be captured over here. You can also select whether to send a notification to the other team members who are part of this particular team. and by default usually this option is no, and then you can press save button. So this note, whoever has entered that note, ये note आपका यहाँ पे capture हो जाएगा. आपने जो भी ट्रीटमेंट के डिटेल्स दिए हुए हैं वो आप यहाँ पे ऐड करते हो. वही अगर आपको और डिटेल में फॉर्म चाहिए, देन यू हैव टू सेलेक्ट एडवांस्ड मोड. Once you click on the advanced mode, the first options are same: date of treatment, time at which the athlete met you, and how long is the treatment, that can be selected. And then in the note contents, you can give the details here. And below that, you can see there are different tasks. So you could have done, let's say, acupuncture, ice therapy, heat, taping, if it is a biofeedback session, stretching, whatever. So all these things are mentioned here. So suppose I'm saying heat and taping, and massage was done. So I can just click on these tasks. These tasks that you see here, they can be added or removed again by going into the settings. तो आपको अगर लगता है कि यहाँ पे ऐसे टास्क है जो मैं नहीं यूज करता हूँ, या फिर जो आप करते हो वो टास्क यहाँ पे नहीं है, so you can add these tasks by going into the team settings. So just remember that. So it need not be that you don't have what you actually need. Then you can report the pain level that is given by the athlete. So let's say athlete has said 6 out of 10. Then you can also mention the pain sensation. You can actually see this particular advanced mode has a lot of options, and it is as per a international format called SOAP format, in which you have to give the subjective component of the injury and the treatment, objective component. So all these components have to be mentioned. So it becomes slightly longer form, but if you're following this particular form, you can actually give all the details over here. So what this is the assessment, and this is your treatment plan. So you can mention all these details here. Mention the pain sensation. So suppose I'm saying it is like pain is radiating, and then if there are any files to be attached, you can attach the files, and that's it. So just a quick overview: start time, treatment time, details, tasks, pain level, pain sensation, and the SOAP format along with the file attachment. So you can attach all these files as a part of the clinical notes. And once you save it, you can see that all the treatment details are available in a tabular format. You can always go back and edit what you've already entered. And there is also a search box over here, because there are so many, let's say you might have added hundreds of notes, and then you have to find out what the treatment is being given. So you can always like type out a few words and find out the appropriate note here. Okay, so in that way you can actually capture all the details given by you. It is also possible to, let's say, if there is one athlete and there is a doctor, then there is another trainer. So it is possible to like have multiple people coming and entering the information of the treatment given by them. So it will remain as a central repository. ये एक ही जगह रहेगी जहाँ पे अलग अलग जो अगर डॉक्टर्स है या फिर जो आपके ट्रेनर्स है, उन्होंने जो ट्रीटमेंट दी हुई है, all the treatment will be available in single place, and who has created that note, who has edited that note, all that detail will be captured over here. All right, so in this way the injury details are there centrally located, all the treatment details are also there centrally located, and both these forms you can see can be easily filled up even on a mobile phone. So अगर आप एथलीट मॉनिटरिंग की वेबसाइट अपने मोबाइल में खोलते हैं, तो इट्स अ रिस्पॉन्सिव वेबसाइट, and you can easily fill up the details from the mobile phone itself. You can also like you can open it and do it in the mobile app also. So it's not necessary that you have a like a laptop only. Many of our clients are actually using it from the mobile phone, so they never open the website at all. The physiotherapists, they are in the field, so as soon as they have treated a patient, they can just capture the clinical note at the end of the treatment. So all the clinical notes are captured, and then let's say somebody sitting in the central office knows which all athletes have been treated today and what treatment was given to them. So it's completely possible to do like that kind of a workflow. Apart from that, there are a few other options under the injury which I want to show you. So this particular option where there is a tablet icon. So the tablet icon is where you can actually add the medication given. So suppose I'm just saying that paracetamol was given to the athlete, you can just write that name and save it. So what happens is that all the medicines which have been given to the athlete, they can be captured over here, and it is also available separately. So primarily, these are the three things that you capture: the injury or illness, clinical notes, and the medication. There are a few other things, but these are mostly dashboards from the injury and illness perspective. So suppose this one, the second last option I have clicked over here. So this is a very detailed dashboard. So it can give you the details about the injuries which have happened, then what kind of treatments have been given, what is the response rate, diagnosis rate. All these details are available as a part of this. So how many injuries have happened to the particular team and the team members, prevalence of different types of injuries, and all these statistics that you can generate, you can use them in your research papers or articles or your presentations. And you can also see like how many cases per athlete per year, or you can even calculate as per, let's say, number of hours of match exposure, or as a cases per 1,000 hours of training exposure. So these are some of the the parameters which are used for the reporting of the injuries. So all these parameters are already pre-built in AMS, and you can generate the statistics from here. So that is the whole idea of capturing injuries. You can also see relative burden, as in like how many are acute injuries, how many are overuse injuries, like that. And then you can also see injuries by the location. So each of these graph can be like downloaded or printed as a separate image, or you can completely, this whole document can be printed as a part of your report. Okay, so in that way you can see that the injury section is like a complete electronic data records or electronic data management system. So it has all the features of capturing the injuries, and this is like a primary requirement for the sports science staff. Before we conclude this health parameter, I just want to tell you something that I'm just taking you to the profile at the top. It is also possible that you have clinic management kind of features available as a part of AMS. Clinic management feature means what, कि आप अपने जो work hours है, so you can actually use it AMS as a part of your scheduling. जैसे एक क्लिनिक होता है और क्लिनिक में आपके टाइम होते हैं कि सपोज मॉर्निंग 8 to 12 एंड देन 2 to 5, या जो भी आपके वर्क आवर्स है, उन वर्क आवर्स में आप एथलीट आपकी डायरेक्टली एएमएस के थ्रू अपॉइंटमेंट ले सकते हैं, और आप एज अ शेड्यूलिंग के तौर पे भी इसकी फीचर को यूज कर सकते हैं. तो आप आपके जो मंडे टू संडे के जो वर्किंग आवर्स है, मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग के, वो दोनों आप यहाँ पे सेट कर सकते हैं. Then you also have features related to double booking, whether it is allowed or not. मतलब एक ही टाइम पे दो एथलीट्स बुक कर सकते हैं कि नहीं, whether you want to give a warning when there is a double booking. आपके आउटसाइड वर्किंग आवर्स आपको शेड्यूल मतलब अपॉइंटमेंट शेड्यूल करने हैं नहीं करने, तो ये भी फीचर्स आपके अवेलेबल है. सो उससे क्या कि आपके ऑफिस के आवर्स या फिर आपके जो ट्रीटमेंट के आवर्स है वो भी एक तरह से इसके अंदर कैप्चर हो सकते हैं. Apart from that, one interesting thing which I want to show you is that again this is feature which you have to use it carefully. जो टॉप लेवल सेटिंग्स है सिस्टम में, दैट्स वाई ये सबको नहीं अवेलेबल होगी. आपके जो एडमिन होंगे उन्हीं के पास में ये फीचर होगा. ये टॉप लेवल सेटिंग में जाने के बाद में जब आप हेल्थ में जाते हो तो आपको डायग्नोस्टिक कोडिंग सिस्टम जो है वो भी आप जो है वो सेट कर सकते हैं. AMS में there are two types of diagnostic coding systems. One system is called SMDCS, which is usually available by default. Another system is OCIICS, so it is also available. तो बेसिकली जो आपके इंजरीज और इलनेसेस के जो अलग अलग ऑप्शंस आपको वहां पे दिखते हैं वो इन दो सिस्टम्स में थोड़ा थोड़ा फर्क है. ज्यादा पॉपुलर SMDCS है जिसके कारण AMS में हमने उसको एज अ डिफॉल्ट सिस्टम रखा हुआ. बट इन केस यू हैव एनी प्रेफरेंसेस यू कैन सिलेक्ट द अदर सिस्टम आल्सो. But just be careful. Why I say be careful is because once you start to use a particular system, it is better to stick to that particular system rather than keep changing it from time to time, because that might create some operational problems. So once you have set, or like if you're using the default SMDCS system, which I just showed you, you can also add custom diagnosis. So many times people say that what if I don't have an option which I wanted to enter in the system. कि अगर आपको लगता है कि मुझे कोई बॉडी एरिया है, कोई स्ट्रक्चर है जिसके डिटेल सिस्टम में एंटर करने हो जो नहीं मिल रहे, तो आपको सिस्टम के सेटिंग्स में आके आप यहाँ पे एक फॉर्म है, you can actually click here and you can select the body area, you can select a structure, and you can set your own diagnosis over here, because structures are already complete. But in case you think that there is some diagnosis which is not there in the system, you can always enter your own diagnosis over here and then submit it. So it gets added as a diagnosis to the system, and you can always then keep using it from time to time whenever it is required. So as you can see, there is flexibility to add your own diagnosis, and then you can use it subsequently as a part of this. So these options are there. These are available not even to the administrator, but it is only available to the owner of the system. Since it affects everything else in the system, that's why the access to these features is restricted. But also just one more option here, that okay, since menstrual cycle tracking is sometimes considered a sensitive information, you can also set whether this information is available to the coaches or not. By default it is available, but in case you don't want it to be available and it want to be available only to the medical staff, it can also be selected from here. So these are some of the top level settings which are very, very important, and I thought I'll share that with you. So that concludes the health, the feature. What I want to show you is that some of you like who have got only the, let's say, medical access, how the system is going to look to you. I'll just try and show you. So right now, because I'm using it as an administrator, all the features that will be available for the medical staff, I just want to show you quickly. So I've created this user called Deepak, and what kind of an access is available for each user is available from this particular icon. The plus icon indicates that this user is a medical user and he has medical features available. So I'll just log out as Vaibhav from the system, and I'll just try and log in as Deepak. Okay, so now yesterday also you might have seen that it is possible that a person may be given access to only one team or one sub team. So similarly, let's say there is one doctor who's treating only a few athletes, he can be given access to only one or like those specific teams for which he is treating the like athletes. So it is possible that you will get access to the teams or the athletes with whom you are working. So let's say I'm Deepak and I've got access to this particular boxing team, which has like one athlete. And once I click on this, you will see that the settings are not available, but the health feature is available. So what I just showed you, health, the second option is completely available for me. So I can report the health problem, and all the options that I showed you are available. The clinical notes can be added. I can enter the like the tablets which are given or the medicine. So all the medical features are completely available for me. A medical personnel also would include physiotherapists or any kind of trainers. So the calendar feature is available. So calendar means if you have any kind of appointments, you can always enter those appointments. You may be doing any kind of rehabilitation exercises. So all your training which is related to athletes injury recovery, getting them back on their feet, so those training sessions can always be entered. Or you can just simply capture your, if you want to capture uh, the meeting with the athletes, that okay, which all athletes you have met today, or whenever the athletes are spending time and you want to capture more details, you can come to the calendar. And let me just start all over again so that you can follow it properly. In the calendar, suppose I'm trying to like capture the information related to athletes who are meeting me, and suppose I had a like 1 hour session with a particular athlete at 8 o'clock. So I'm just clicking on the calendar, and then I I select that particular athlete, and then I can always say this is a medical appointment, or it can be like a physiotherapy appointment, so this also can be added in the system. And then the start time is 8 o'clock, and suppose the whole session was for 1 hour, I can select that. You can also add, let's say, various offices or different locations in the system, and then who is the staff member who has done it. Of course, by default it is coming over here. This RP method, you can just like ignore it because it's just a medical appointment, and then you can give the details of the rehab over here. So the rehab activities can be given over here, and then you can also attach the files in case you have taken any photographs, if you have taken any kind of other assessments. Those assessments can be added over here, and then you can add it in the system. So now you can see that in my calendar now, all the rehab activities, all the trainings that I have done with a particular athlete or various activities will always be available as a part of this. All these training activities can also be exported. You can like download it. You can print it from here. So it's possible to do that. If you're a strength and conditioning coach, then of course it will be slightly different, because right now I'm showing you like a medical stuff. But let's continue with the medical part here. You've seen that as a part of the medical, it is also possible to use some of the questionnaires also, as well as assessments. So I'm just quickly showing you this fourth option from here. Uh, okay, give me just a second. Yeah. So there are two more features which are important for everyone. One is a questionnaire. So questionnaire is typically a questionnaire which is uh, any kind of question. So suppose you're a psychologist and you want to ask some kind of intake questionnaires, or you're trying to fill up the information of on an athlete, or you're a dietitian and you're trying to get information about their diet charts. Then it can be like some kind of a subjective assessment by a physiotherapist, and it can be captured as a part of a questionnaire. So all the questionnaires which are there in the system, which will be available. So all the questionnaires, again, for adding any new questionnaire, it needs to be added in the system. So let me just quickly go back to the view as an administrator. So in the top level settings, if you see, there are questionnaire settings. So any new questionnaire that you want to add can be added here. So let me just try and see, uh, give an example of, let's say, COVID questionnaire. So this COVID questionnaire is effectively like, again, this is uh, it can be administered every time the athletes come to the center or from time to time. And this questionnaire is essentially asking whether you had any kind of following symptoms in the last 14 days. So fever or chills, uh, then cough, like that. So all the symptoms. So in this way, you can actually create a questionnaire. It can have either answers as multiple choice or a rating scale or a drop down menu, and you can create any kind of questionnaire as a part of that. So this questionnaire, first of all, has to be entered in the system as a part of the settings. Once it is there in the settings, it is available for the use. So suppose like you go to my teams and we are trying to assign a particular questionnaire. So I'm going to, let's say, boxing team again here, and I want to see assign some kind of a questionnaire over here. Okay, so you can see that you can actually go to a team, then you can, in the questionnaires part, you can come and say that, okay, I'm assigning a particular questionnaire to all the athletes or a particular specific athlete, and from the drop down I can select a particular questionnaire and when it is to be completed. And this questionnaire can be either completed by the athletes or staff or both of them, so you can select that option also, and whether you want to skip the player that are already assigned this questionnaire. So in that way you can actually assign a questionnaire. And I just want to show you how, let's say, a questionnaire looks like. So it looks like this, and the athletes can actually see this questionnaire on their mobile phone itself. एथलीट्स के मोबाइल फोन में भी ये क्वेश्चनर आप उनको असाइन कर सकते हो, और एथलीट्स उनके कन्वीनियंस से कभी भी कहीं से भी उनके मोबाइल फोन से इन क्वेश्चनर का आंसर दे सकते हैं. तो जैसे अभी आप देख रहे हो कोविड क्वेश्चनर है, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है एनेक्सर ए में, हैव यू हैड एनी ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सिम्टम्स इन पास्ट 14 days. आपको फीवर या चिल्स तो नहीं हुई? अगर आंसर नो है, नथिंग विल हैपन. बट सपोज अगर आंसर यस है, तो अगर आपको उसके आगे कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछना है तो वो भी आप पूछ सकते हैं. तो जैसे फीवर ऑफ चिल्स, कॉफ नो, शॉर्टनेस ऑफ ब्रेथ सपोज मैं नो बोल रहा हूँ, फटीग यस, मसल ऑफ बॉडी एक्स यस. तो इस तरह से आंसर्स उसके भरे जा सकते हैं. कंजेशन और रनी नोज यस, डायरिया नो. एंड देन आगे आप ये भी क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो कि द डेट ऑन विच द सिम्टम स्टार्टेड. तो यहाँ पे कैलेंडर ऑप्शन आ जाता है. कैलेंडर ऑप्शन में यू कैन सिलेक्ट अ डेट, कब प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट हुआ, कब प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व हुए. डिड यू हैव एवर अ पॉजिटिव टेस्ट फॉर कोविड-19? अगर येस बोल रहे देन क्या हो रहा है कि डेट ऑफ टेस्ट मांगा जा रहा है. सो इन दैट वे यू कैन सी दैट यू कैन एक्चुअली क्रिएट कंडीशनल क्वेश्चंस आल्सो. कंडीशनल क्वेश्चन का मतलब यह है कि अगर आंसर येस हुआ तो अगर कोई एडिशनल इंफॉर्मेशन कैप्चर करनी है तो वो आप कर सकते हैं. तो इस टाइप से ये क्वेश्चनर एथलीट्स या तो मोबाइल फोन से भर सकते हैं या लैपटॉप से या टैबलेट से भी भर सकते हैं. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपने खुद ये क्वेश्चनर भरनी है, यू कैन ऑल्सो डू दैट. So it is possible to like capture this kind of an information. So it is, you can see it can be a medical questionnaire also. So when you want to, let's say there are two categories of the questionnaires. एक है कि जनरल क्वेश्चनर है और एक है मेडिकल क्वेश्चनर. सो मेडिकल क्वेश्चनर मतलब क्या है कि जब आप सेटिंग्स में जब कोई क्वेश्चनर क्रिएट करते हो तो उस क्वेश्चनर क्रिएट करते हुए ही आपको यहाँ पे जो राइट साइड में आइकॉन है प्लस मेडिकल वाला, तो इफ यू सिलेक्ट दिस पर्टिकुलर ऑप्शन then it will get categorized as medical questionnaire and it will be available to anyone only with a medical credential. So in that way you can always create a medical questionnaire. अभी मैंने जब आपको व्यू दिखाया था वहां पे कोई क्वेश्चनर नहीं दिख रही थी because in my demo system I have not created any particular questionnaire which is only a medical questionnaire. So in that way for the medical personnel you can create specific questionnaires which are only used by you and no one else, so others can see the results as well. So the next feature of course is apart from this particular like questionnaire aspect, you can also this I'm particularly talking about SNC coaches, strength and conditioning. You can use the assessments in the system, which is a very important feature. In assessments, effectively what happens is you are trying to add any kind of tests, and these tests you can enter any type of test. So it can be tests related to endurance, speed endurance. You can see you can create a complete like a library of tests, body composition analysis. So in case you want to capture information about the body composition, you can do that. So all you have to do is add a particular component, and against that component you can add the tests, and then tell AMS how to interpret that particular test. You can also add any kind of formulas in the test. So in case you're trying to capture something on the basis of other test results, you can do that. We have entered a few tests for different size centers. So that's why you can see some of these details like complete hemogram. So these details can come. Then urine examination, that can be entered, blood tests. Then you can see what else is there. So essentially anything can be entered. So lipid profile, then FMS test like functional movement screening. So even something need not have a unit. If it is just a rating on a scale of 5, those kind of ratings can also be added. Nutritional tests can be added. So you can, like, whatever is the test available with you, it can be entered into the system. There is a like form. I'm just not going to fill it up all the way, but I will just show you. You can just click on add a test, give the name of the test, specify the unit, specify the category under which this particular test comes, and tell AMS how to interpret it, whether higher raw score is better or lower score is better. Again, it's not necessary to enter each and every test into AMS. I think the best way is to capture only the essentials which are going to be like really tracked closely. Otherwise, some tests which are there just as a routine and not very important, you don't need to create very thorough detailed assessments for that. You can simply attach PDF files of the pre-existing tests and you can keep it in AMS. It is better to add only those tests which are important and which you are going to track closely. You can also combine different tests and create a battery. So you can create an anthropometrical test battery. Test battery means those tests which have to be seen together. मतलब वही टेस्ट बैटरी का मतलब ये है कि आपको वही टेस्ट एंटर करने हैं साथ में जिनके आप रिजल्ट्स एक साथ में देखना चाह रहे हो, जिनके ग्राफ्स एक साथ देखना चाह रहे हो, या फिर जिनका रिपोर्ट एक साथ में प्रिंट करना है. तो anthropometrical test battery is something which has height, weight, BMI, sitting height, arm span, all these batteries together. Biochemical are all these tests. What happens is that sometimes if there are a very large number of tests, because of screen size, the data entry at the time of data entry, you might feel that it's not looking right. So it is nothing to do with AMS per se, but if you're just trying to see too many columns on one page, it is not going to look nice. So that's why you have to just pick and choose which tests you are going to combine in the batteries. FMS, as again, you can see this, the different types of tests under FMS. Next one is if you have any standards for age. So different age groups, and you want to specify what is good and what is, what is average, what is excellent. Those kind of age specific norms can be entered into AMS. It takes again some effort to enter all these information. It is like setting up process of AMS, but once it is there, it's not going to change frequently. You can enter the assessments, you can enter the standards, and after that you can start to see the reports. So let me just try and show you how the assessment reports look like. So in boxing team, suppose I want to see what kind of assessments are available. So I am going here, and once you go to the assessments, you can also export and import the data and view the reports which for the data which is already available. So here I'm selecting a battery, quarterly assessment of boxing. Usually you have quarterly assessments for different sports, so it is possible to like create those assessments. And then the first assessment was for July to September quarter. Next assessment is for October to December quarter. And then you have multiple options available here. You can see either individual profile, or you can see the rankings of the team, or you can see the whole team's profile per se. So all these things can be seen, or even individual performance reports. So you can select the appropriate report that you want to see, and then you can view the report. AMS will generate color coded reports for you to see, and you can also export these reports. You can print them from here, and you can just toggle between different players to see these results. So you can see it is quarterly assessment is first, second quarter, then the next quarter, and bar charts, pie charts, all kind of information is available here. Similarly, let's try and look at some other report, individual performance report. And so individual performance report is it's what is the best in the team, what is the rank of the athlete. So in that way, for each test, it will appear. So for certain tests, more data is available. So as you can see, for this particular test, team's best is 39th, athlete's rank is 2 out of 3. So each of these reports can be basically seen here, or it can be printed, let's say for lower body power. So what is appearing in the blue here is the component which is being measured. The test is standing broad jump test, athlete score, team's average, team's best, and what is the rank of the athlete. So these are some of the reports which are like available, and you can always use these reports as a part of your analysis. All right, so in that way, as a part of your sports science work, you can use the assessments as well as the questionnaires that I have shown you so far. So primarily, this is what these are the kind of features available. Before closing out, I just want to quickly show you that it is possible to communicate through the system. So you can actually send and receive messages through the system. So you can communicate with the athletes, you can communicate with the various staff members, so that all the important communication around performance and the data in AMS can be kept within AMS only. So you don't need to go to other mechanisms for communicating. So the messages can be sent and received. So make use of it. Other thing is, there's also a feature for media sharing. So you can just think of it as a folder in which you can keep some of the information. So in case there is something that you want to like keep it in AMS, but it's not really coming under any other particular place, because all the medical records can be kept in medical records. But over and above that, in case there is something which you want to keep here, just think of it like a folder which is based in cloud, and you can add files, you can add links, and share it with other staff members or athletes, or share with everyone who's there in that team. So it's again like a place where you can keep all the media. Then you can also, for each athlete, if you are over and above the features that I have shown you, in case you think that there is any kind of additional information that you want to capture, you can always do that. So you can, there's a place just to keep all the miscellaneous documents against the athlete only. You can also create different types of notes, and those notes can also be kept against the athlete's records. So as you can see here, you can actually add different types of notes. So when I click add new, there are different types of notes here. So general notes, holistics, on the mental aspects, nutrition, performance, physical, psychological, tactical, technical. So any category of note, you can actually add your own categories also and create notes, attach files related to that note, send a notification to other team members whenever the note is added, and in that way records can be kept. So as you can see, there is a specific place in which you can capture injury details, illness details, all the notes, clinical notes related to treatment, medication. So there it comes in the health section. Over and above that, you can come and store any additional notes in this particular section. You can have your assessments also. So medical assessments, any kind of sports science specific assessments can be entered as a part of assessments, and you can see the reports. Anything which has no numbers but more like a subjective part of it, it can go as a questionnaire. And uh, so that's it. So I think I have given you a complete overview of the features which are available to you. So please feel free to start using it, and wherever you are like not able to use the features, in case you have any kind of a problem, do not hesitate to contact us. uh, like Raju Bairava from my team is available as a part of our support. I'm also available, so you can contact either him. Wherever he is stuck, you can contact me as well. On the chat box here, I'm sharing our office landline number, so you can contact us on the office landline wherever you need some kind of a support. So with that, I will stop my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know now, and in case you have any question later on also, you can contact me regarding your query. Thank you everyone for your attention.
Um, Hello, Weber. I'm Mohit Gulati. Shall I ask question now?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Weber, for the detailed information. It was a very good, very detailed information of AMS. As you know, I'm from NCOE Lucknow, and I have been also already using it. I just have few questions and few things in mind which I need to
Sure.
tell.
Okay.
First of all, as I am using in Lucknow, so I'm not able to use from the Came side as well. So that is either because of the same email ID I have been using over there. Whenever I'm clicking the Came site, it's always getting open from the Lucknow site only. You getting my point?
Yeah. So you have used the same email ID in both the places.
That is, yeah,
Okay.
that's my main email ID. So
Okay.
so I'm not able to get connected with the Cames AMS.
Okay.
That's what I'm having the issue presently.
Okay. I
And
think.
second thing,
Okay.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
I
yeah. Tell
think you
me.
please complete so that I'll
Yeah,
address both the
and
questions.
second thing is it's my small suggestion. As the medical personnel, I'm not able to write down some of the things like whenever I'm writing a medical description of someone, and I am clicking on the ankle and it is not showing the ligament. So I have to mark on the others that this is happening. So if on a team settings, the medical personnel would be able to jot it down, like these are the also things we can do. Only admin can write it down. So what happens that we don't go that far to mention it, and it always gets stuck on the others. So we are not able to show it. I have to just write below there if any details are there, so I write the diagnosis on that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if
Understood.
medical personnel can also edit this thing, as you have shown that only admin can do this team setting, so then it would be also very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So to answer your first question, I think you will need a separate email ID to create a login for Games, because
Okay.
from the purely from AMS perspective, both are different clients for us. So these are two different systems which are set up, and so the data and the users in all the systems will have to be different. So this is because otherwise with the same email ID, we can't like mix two different teams in one way. So I think the solution for this is to give a separate email ID, create a separate login for your this game system, and so that you will be able to see both the things separately.
Okay,
So it's
I can do that also. To whom shall I share these things so that it can make?
I think you'll have to like contact Gopalji and the
Okay,
administrator for Keynes so that they can do
okay,
that.
okay. We'll do that. Thank you.
Right. So this is the first one. And second thing, I think mm, I think I can take it up because I think currently we are trying to do like a complete rehaul of the roles which are there in the AMS. So the users and the different user types that we have shown so far and that you have been using. So these are getting completely changed and overhauled as a part of the feedback received from different customers. So this will, but again, it's going to take some time before there will be much greater flexibility in terms of giving these administrator settings. So till that time, I think my suggestion is that you can actually share that with your admin, or you can do that to us also, or with like my team member. We will follow up with them and get these things added. So as I showed you, the new diagnosis that you have not been able to put in the system, it can be added. So it won't take more than a minute to enter that into the system. So whatever you think is not available, so if you can just send that to us, uh, or like to your administrator over there who's handling the system, we will just make sure that it comes into the system so that next time when you're trying to enter something similar, will always be like available for you. And maybe as a follow-up of this session also, what we can do is that you can coordinate with Raju, and we'll again see the different options even in our demo system, and you can try and add it in our demo system. And if it is okay to add in your like the Lucknow system, you can then finalize doing that. So but my request is just just coordinate with us and the administrator to add it at the back end, because for the time being you, or maybe what is that it is also possible that I think for everyone who's an administrator also, my suggestion is that for some limited time, anyone who is trying to use the system at like in a proper manner, they can be given admin rights, or they can be given, let's say, even a manager rights for some time. Once they set up the system, after that you can revert the roles again. So that will be better for the time being.
Okay, thank you. That's
Welcome.
all clear my doubts. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, then we can stop perhaps here. All right. So thank you everyone for attending today's session. I look forward to like receiving more of your questions and queries as you start to implement the system in your day-to-day practice. And I have already shared the number of our contact person and our office. Uh, do not hesitate to contact us whenever you need any help. So thank you so much for participating in today's session. Have a nice day.